Good evening. Welcome in. A big edition of TigerBait Live tonight. Lots of LSU football recruiting excitement. A significant run of LSU football recruiting. Big news since Friday, and it's going to keep on going through this Friday. And so I've already seen a big group of questions and commenters and those of you in the chat. So I think we're going to have a lively show tonight. Buddy Songy on board with myself. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pride Roofing, Alex Martinez, Mike Faraday. We can't do this show each and every week without them, and so big thanks to them. And so we've got several more days of LSU football recruits coming LSU's way, and both of them are extremely significant. And it went from hand-wringing a week and a half ago, LSU fans nervous, LSU's recruiting class barely in the top 50. Now they're well in the top 10 and starting to load up 2024 as well as 2023. And it doesn't look like there's going to be any let up in a month of July where you usually think things are going to be quiet other than coaches at SEC Media Days in a week and a half. So welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Michael Scarborough. Hope everybody doing well. Listen, if you're somebody, you're probably at the beach. You're probably on vacation, but you still love LSU. And let me tell you, folks, the people on the beaches in the Panhandle. You know, I've said this, and a guy called me a dumbass for saying this, but I still don't know why LSU doesn't go more to the Panhandle. Louisianans have spent millions of dollars over there. Remember Lewis Williams and others?
I was about to bring him up. I mean, that's kind of – I think the last coach that really hit the Panhandle of Florida and South Alabama the hardest was probably Josh Henson.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're going back 15, 16 years, but it's also a deal where you've got some high school coaches in that area that will filter everybody to Auburn and Alabama. A lot of Auburn in the Mobile area, but there's not a whole lot of numbers there either, to be truthful.
But my point, Mike, was this. The Tiger faithful go, and you get your music, and you drink in, and everybody knows when you're an LSU fan. You see the purple and gold beach towels. You see the garb. You see the boom boxes, the music, the gumbo pots and the jambalaya pots. And, you know, after the last year, there's a lot of people kicking sand up on that purple and gold beach towel. And we are here to say not only are they going to take over Fort Walton and Destin and Pensacola, but now we got a party brewing in a couple of days in Miami. Can you say the U and the Hurricanes? Interesting story with him. I've got some tidbits today that Mike does recruiting. I'm going to give you some tidbits that are going to open up your eyes as to breakout players and who is going to make the next step to lead LSU to the land of 8, 9, or 10 wins in the first year of Brian Kelly. And as we know, it's not just men or women that are impatient. LSU fans are impatient. So I guess you could say, my dad told me this a long time ago, the old timers, if you don't know what it means, look it up on Google. Don't worry about the mule, just load the freaking wagon. Now, I added freaking, so I wasn't plagiarizing like somebody we know. But that all being said, good to see you, man.
You too. Jeremiah Hughes, Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, who I did an interview with. A lot of you saw that on Saturday if you're a TigerBait Premium subscriber. He previewed his decision announcement tomorrow. And we've had a prediction in for LSU for over a week on him. And then, of course, all the buzz that's happened today is Jaylen Brown, the 5-star wide receiver from Gulliver Prep in Miami. 6 foot, 150, 155. You look at his highlight tape, and he's just fantastic. And people have been asking me for weeks. I'm saying, it looks like Miami to me. Looks like Miami. Just kind of, and boy, the tide turned. And
What?
Everybody,
I don't know if that was a good word to use.
Put in a prediction on the website earlier today. LSU Friday, and he'll announce it on Instagram. That's the prediction, and that seems to be the scuttlebutt amongst recruiting guys all over the place. That they're also. I talked to a Miami source earlier today. Guy's a pretty good homer. he says it's LSU too. So there you go.
Yeah, you're looking at Jets Jefferson and Jamar Chase setting records with rookies in the NFL. You look at Terrace Marshall, who's a pretty darn good ball player. All three of those won the 19 team. And this year, folks, I think the big question, Mike, look, everybody's going to early on in the season double Kayshon Boutte. So can Brian Kelly, Mike Denbrock, and Joe Sloan get Kayshon Boutte in space, in motion, on one-on-one situations to let him do his thing? But can Jere Jenkins, oh, by the way, he scored 8 touchdowns in his career at LSU. Malik Neighbors scored 4 last year. Brian Thomas, 2. Jack Besh, 2. Chris Hilton, 1 on the last play of the game. And so who steps up at wide receiver? Because you know Boutte's going to get a lot of doubling this year.
Yep. Damian Briggs with a $20 super chat. Big thank you, Damian. You didn't put a question there or comment, but I think that I guess you appreciate the show and very, very much appreciative of the super chat. And guys, do me a favor, please. It don't cost you anything just to hit the like button, and that really helps us with the algorithm. It makes sure YouTube is looking for the likes, and what the likes does, it makes them recommend our video to people that are surfing YouTube. And if they're an LSU fan or they're looking for similar content, because there's been a lot of likes, it'll show up in the recommended videos, and really helps us out a lot. So if you're enjoying the show, do us that solid and hit the like button. And, of course, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. Every time we go live or there's new content, you'll immediately get alert to your cell phone. And we're right around the corner from the start of football camp, player interviews, Brian Kelly. We're going to see what coordinators we may or may not get once fall camp starts. But at the rate that Brian Kelly has allowed his assistant coaches to be accessible, I'm just wondering when it's going to end. Do we get a cold turkey shutout?
Nah, I don't see
second week in August. But to me, that's what we're seeing so far is very telling about him. You know, if you go back, Buddy goes back. You know, we all saw DiNardo get real paranoid at the end of his tenure, and didn't like his assistant coaches talking to anybody. Saban, back when we had traditional media days, you know, we get coordinators and coaches in August football media day, and that was it. Maybe a special occasion after a big bowl win. Brian Kelly has just been phenomenal with he's not paranoid. And to me, that's just a guy who's obviously doesn't believe that he's splitting the atom behind closed doors. It's, you know, he's confident in what he's got the work he's doing, and and we're all going to see it, I believe. So big thank you, Damien. Let me scroll up, buddy. I want to get to
let's get to
I want to get to a lot of these comments. We had a bunch of them. Edward O got the crabs. Hey, Mike, great interview with Debo. The hits keep coming. Thank you very much. Debo's going to be outstanding, says Mick McGrath. Absolutely. Debo, of course, Jonesboro Hodge, you know, you're talking about a 6'1", 201 linebacker that had close to 180 solo tackles. Just almost like a one-man tackling machine for a defense. Let me scroll down. BK killing it, he also adds. Let's go, Brandon. Waiting on BK and the boys to flip more Louisiana guys. Well, certainly one that they're coveting is Ricky Collins at Woodlawn. And that one you can see where, depending on his thinking, Buddy thinks, you know, he wants to start and play early. But I know Joe Sloan is doing a fantastic job recruiting Ricky Collins and has been hard after him for 4 or 5 months. The wide receiver room, let's go, Brandon, talking about what Buddy's talking about, pretty crowded this year, but we need to restock after that. Absolutely, and got a lot of them. A lot of them coming out. And here we go. The jury is still out on Cortez Hankton and Brad Davis, who need wide receiver no L commits. Well, we just told you about the one we expect on Friday, and I really believe that Coach Davis on the offensive line is about to have a little bit of a run, reminiscent of what we just saw from Coach Kane. And the word I also get is Zalance Hurd up at Neville. That's not going to be one that goes all the way till November, December. That one could be that he could very well be a young man that gets it done sooner rather than later. So keep note of that. You heard it right here. Let's see what else we got, guys.
By the way, one thing to interject, I have a list of 25 former LSU players who were 3 stars. Well, one guy at the end of the list was a 2-star. And there was so much made. And we're going to get our obligatory message from Brian Madeir about 3 stars. And
Beth Farina.
And Beth Farina. But I'm just going to read you a list of 25 3-stars at some point when we calm down, okay? And you are going to say, you know what? A 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, here are the things that you want to know. Is he going to come in ready to work? Is he going to do what LSU expects them to do on and off the field? Is he going to be a good teammate? Is he going to do it mentally, physically, psychologically, and as we know, hold the rope? It sounds sappy and all that, but the culture that he is building, I really think they're going to be ready to run through a roof come the night of September 4th. And that, as we've been trying to tell people, sometimes supersedes even talent. Mike, every kid that's committed in the last 5-6 days, are you impressed with, number one, how they handle themselves, number two, how they verbalize their feelings, and number three, the reality of the reason they're coming to LSU? This is not just a bunch of guys that want NIL money. These are guys that want the full experience. That's why I am very cautiously optimistic on the direction of the Fighting Nurse Courts. I have officially
She's
said,
in there. She's in there.
It's not the LSU Fighting Tigers. It's now the LSU Fighting Nurse Courts. And kudos to her and Danny girl, always in here.
Yep, there she is. Hey, Mike and Mr. Buddy.
Mister, you don't call me Mister.
Rick Clody. He spelled it out for me last week. Did I say it right?
I think so.
Cloetti? I think that's it. Tiger recruiting on fire. He's got it. Dylan Smith, what's up, guys? Let me scroll down. I'm in the 804s on my screen, and we're at 8:15, so I'm behind 10 minutes on the comments.
Jake Peets is still in the house in Tiger Town.
Oh yeah. Oh Danny. Yeah. Oh Danny girl. Does anyone else sometimes feel like we have an addiction to our LSU shows? We all go collectively from one to the next. Yeah, and look, we try not to step on each other. Pooh Bear just posted on the screen. I was on their show Sunday night. Now I had a lot of fun doing that show with those guys, and he asked me towards the end of the show, a new channel, what do we do? What do you think? And first of all, I think that time slot they chose was ideal.
Excellent.
Because there's nobody else on at that time. And so, excellent show. If you missed it, if you go to the front page of TigerBait, I was on with those guys for a good 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes Sunday night, and you can still find it easily on the front page of TigerBait.com.
I enjoyed it.
Go
guys.
subscribe to their channel and hit the like button on those guys too.
It was great.
A big deal for new channels is to get to 1,000 subscribers. A lot of people don't know this, but when you get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you can get monetized. You can get ads and the little pop-ups that and that helps guys pay the bills and buy new microphones, and Ant needs a new video camera. Let's see what we got here. Brett Garofola. Hey, Mike and Buddy.
What's up, BG?
Sean Wired. What led to this flurry of commitments? I think it's they've got through the camp season. They got through the spring evaluation period, camp season, a busy June of official visits. And I don't know this for a fact, but it's probably logical thinking that they probably regrouped after all that and got together and said, where do we stand at each position, this kid, that kid, and they said, all right, now it's time to make the push. And then I think that's part of it. Not only that, you just have a lot of kids that want to get it done before their senior year. And then I think in a case with Debo Atkins, I think a lot of the fanfare and the fun seeing all the commitments go down since Friday, even though he's a 24 kid, I think he got caught up in it. And what a great young man. If you saw that interview, that's another one to watch on our channel, easily found on the front page of TigerBait. I think that young man is going to be big NIL interview guy, great personality, only 16 years old. If you hear him speak, a lot of enthusiasm, and boy, he can run too. I think he's going to be a Pied Piper recruit for this staff and his ability to help bring in other kids to be a part of that 24 class. Doug knows. Mike, have you seen Atkins live? I have not. I've only seen him at camp. Obviously, that's always been one of the negatives. Tre'Davious White, Morris Claiborne, who was our Fair Park wide receiver?
It's off the top, but it's way up north.
Yeah,
Shreveport, not easy to get
Shreveport, Jonesboro, North Caddo. We're talking about, Oak Grove. I feel bad that I never made it to Neville to see Will. I was always cheating and waiting for Neville to come south. And, but yeah.
He just admitted it, folks.
Yep. It's hard to get up there. I admit it. Let's see.
I'll interject real quick. I think it's a method to the madness. I also think, as we said last week, and I didn't mean to say damn, but I really do believe this. This is a really good football staff, and you were starting to see that they're wrapping their arms around in the SEC. Oh, by the way, we don't have time to get into it tonight, but there is mass wife swapping in college football. And the Fluties from USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten, as we know, and all kinds of rumors and innuendos.
What's Notre Dame going to do?
No, the Big Ten is waiting on Notre Dame, but trust me, the SEC is looking to add some more teams.
But is the ACC going to fight for Notre Dame?
ACC, Big 12, Pac are all trying to do some crazy stuff.
The ACC is already knee deep in the ACC.
But so here we are trying to get acclimated to NIL and transfer portal, and now you have all these schools. And guess what else is at the crux of it, Mike? Renegotiation of the TV contracts. So all of that is in a mix. Oh, Danny girl, that is why people are addicted still to college football.
Go Tigers. Mike, have you received that paycheck yet for reeling in there? No, I'm not doing anything. All I do is cover it. All this goes to the staff. And like I said with the interview with Xavier Atkins, Debo yesterday, Matt House, a lot of people say, okay, Matt House got Xavier Atkins. Well, no, Sherman Wilson was a big part of it. You've got a lot of guys in that building. Bobby, on down the line. Jordan, Belton, and more. They all help. It's a all hands on deck, and every assistant coach on that staff have player personnel people that help them navigate, getting kids on the phone. Are they coming in? What do they need? Can they get? Are they invited to camp? Can their coach drive them if the parent can't? It's an ongoing deal, and there's a lot of unsung heroes in that building. I think you can kind of tell on Twitter, and a lot of us retweet them. But those player personnel people are vital to the whole success of what's going on right now. Not just the position coaches and the guys at the top of the masthead.
No doubt about it. And look, Jamar Cain, I told you this originally when we started talking about the staff. My guy that knows Oklahoma says, man, this is a surprise. Everybody thought California guy going back to work with who's that guy that shunned LSU and went to USC? Gosh, I forgot. Lincoln Riley. He's driving a Lincoln to L.A., and now they're driving a Lincoln back. Do you realize USC and UCLA getting into the Big Ten, the closest conference opponent is 1,500 miles. So they're going to add more West teams to the Big Ten, and the SEC is going to add. So crazy times, but Jamar Cain is loving it in Louisiana. All these coaches are getting acclimated. Mike, can't wait to see how excited they get when they about a month away, folks. I looked on the phone. August the 6th is when we went to the first practice last year. September 4th was the first game. And, of course, September 4th, first game this year. So I'm looking at August 1.
It's already started. We got email yesterday or this morning.
Less than a month.
Yesterday for us to submit for credentials for the Florida State game. So, Jacob Powell, you guys said it many times, be patient and good things will happen. Well, here it is. Keep it up, guys. Pat Mashburn. Of course, he's the uncle of LSU's tight end. Dylan Smith, hey, Mike, did you ever come to see Mason Smith play at Terrebonne? I sure did one time, and I love that old stadium. I always say that the movie Hoosiers, if they had a football stadium in that movie, it would have been that stadium in Houma. Exact color scheme, the exact time. I think it was built in the 30s. That old stadium is that's a treasure, man. Now it's got field turf. In fact, I saw them when they played Jamie and Buxton before Buxton went to Thibodeau. Where was he at? Bourgeois, whatever that game was, and he was a freshman. Of course, then I've seen him at camps in a lot of other places before he got to LSU.
Monster Mash, Cole Taylor, Nick Storrs, who's finally healthy at 6'6", 265, and you like this kid, and now they're listing Mason Taylor at 6'5", 240. All the women out there want to get in their skinny jeans, but, man, you got to like the jeans that Mason Taylor has with his daddy, Jason, being pretty darn good for a long time in the NFL. But you do need to add more depth at tight end, and I think they will address that in the 23 class as we've seen, Mike.
Nick Diaz, does the staff continue to recruit Omarion Miller? They do, seeing as this might be Scott Frost last year at Nebraska.
No, he didn't do enough at camp, what I heard.
That's looking like a Mickey Joseph pull. We'll see. Omarion's is he giving some hints with some of his recent tweets?
Dude, if you're bringing in Jaylen Brown and Shelton Sampson, Miller's got to have a better camp than he had at LSU. I'm not trying to be mean, just what I heard.
Fire. Hey, Mike, when will LSU honor Jim Hawthorne? You heard anything?
I have not heard about that, but you know what? That's a heck of a question. Obviously, we know that there's still some basketball players that need their statues and all the numbers and all that. I'm still waiting for Kevin Falk's number 3 to have that jersey. Look, you're always going to still be able to wear 3, but as we saw with Stovall, you retire the jersey, not the number.
Well, it's time to hear from our good buddies Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez with Pride Roofing.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla español.
And there you go. And just an hour ago, Miss Tammy over at Pride Roofing, we got another referral hooked up with 1 year of premium TigerBait because they called 855-PRIDE-16, said they heard about Pride on TigerBait Live and on TigerBait.com. And we got hooked up with a free premium subscription. He's going to get a free roof inspection. And you absolutely need to give Pride a call. No better roofing company all across South Louisiana, all the way to the Texas border, Lake Charles, North Shore, of course, real big base in Albany on Florida Boulevard. Swing by their office. And, of course, they go well up to Jackson, everywhere south Mississippi. And real big, of course, on the North Shore and expanding very big in Lafayette and Baton Rouge as well. Nobody's going to do it better for you than Pride Roofing.
Listen, folks, residential, commercial, metal roofs, once Pride Roofing. And by the way, we talk about recruiting on this show all the time. Mike and Alex are as good recruiters as you've ever seen. If you've ever met Miss Tammy and Miss Yessie, they are trophy wives. They are the foundation behind the office. And let me tell you what, behind every good man is a great woman. And let me tell you, you've been over there, I've been over there, and it runs like clockwork. They are honest, they communicative, they get there on time. They will sharpen the pencil on a competitive price deal. But once they bought Crown Metals, this whole ball game and ball of wax has changed. Give them an opportunity. You won't be disappointed. Baton Rouge local salesperson, Mike, once again, Mike Kirby, went to school with Mike Scarborough here, 225-445-1071. That's his personal cell number. He's the Baton Rouge salesperson. If you want to call out of the area, 855
Pride 16.
We were supposed to do it in unison. 855 Pride 16. Hey, we'll never.
We'll have to practice that.
Yeah, we'll never amount to what Mike and Alex do. But really, folks, great people to do business with, and they take great pride in the job that they do.
AYS Sports, ask Mike and Buddy, who is your favorite podcaster in Hammond?
Well,
Benny Latino?
I will say this about Blake, and he had some really good shows and a good week or two, and he's starting a website, and so he's moving on. But I will always tell Blake and everybody else out there that are in millennials or younger, you don't have to tell everybody you're great if you're great. They'll tell you. But keep up the good work. And we know that, by the way, I don't know.
A lot of people watch Blake's show and then they immediately watch ours.
I know it. And guess what Blake was doing last night? I'm going to bust him.
What's that?
He had a little toddy. He had a little cocktail during the show. So, Blake, all kidding aside, keep up the great work. And just remember, Blake Ruffino's wife is going straight to heaven. She's going to bypass purgatory and go straight up to heaven.
Yeah, we're
just like my girlfriend.
These shows are like are like HBO. There's no constraints on alcohol consumption on the air.
I wasn't trying to bust him. I was trying to mess with him. But he's done a hell of a job, and kudos to getting the player as well as Jamar Cain afterwards. And you could tell there was a comfort zone with both interviews, and that's what makes it fun, Mike.
Edward O says Mike and Buddy are great, as so is Blake and Carter the Power. Yep.
Carter the Power.
A lot of great shows out there. Watch them all. Everybody's got a little something to provide, and if one guy's not your flavor, another guy might be. I've always said that.
Hey, and I got to interject something. And I know the male ego and the testosterone gets flaming this time after LSU. You know, you get a couple cocktails and you get all those commitments, and you're starting to kind of, yeah, man. Don't disrespect other people's opinion, especially the female. No, they have never worn a jockstrap. No, they've never been in the trenches. But for those who care, there are many opportunities to be well-versed in watching. And I, quite frankly, am not intimidated by somebody that knows more or has a different point of view. And I just wish LSU fans would quit frickin' going after each other. And just like Brian Kelly has said to the team, let's do a little bonding. You don't need to talk trash to your teammate. Let's all get along, because you got an opportunity, if this fan base would get together like the football team is, to do something special this year.
TNT Tigers, so between Thursday and Friday, how many will commit to LSU? The number right now is 2. So we'll be watching Jeremiah Hughes tomorrow and Jaylen Brown on Friday. And I've got predictions in on TigerBait to LSU for both of them.
Well, look, I want to get to more of the responses, but when we get a minute or two, I want to give you my 3-star list. By the way, you go to a lot of restaurants, right? And so 5 stars is obviously the highest. So is a 3-star restaurant and experience a meal pretty good?
It can be. I mean, there's depends on what it is.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you about 3 stars that have played at LSU, and all this hand wrangling and going crazy. You ain't got another 3-star. Wait till I tell you some of the names that were 3 stars.
I will say this, and I said it on Buddy's show earlier today, about 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. I really believe, and you guys who've watched the show each and every week know I've been harping on this a bit. There's new networks. There's other networks that are falling by the wayside, and their personnel on the regional and national scene, their numbers are dwindling. But one thing that is absolutely true is that every network that's out there that does rankings, the number of guys who are on hand that actually go out and see high schools is exponentially less than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's not even close. The number of guys who are recruiting analysts that don't go see high school games is beyond the pale. And I really believe, and of course, a lot of this is like, a lot of it is for you to beat your chest on signing day, and it really doesn't matter. But I really believe that in the next 2-3 years, you're going to look back at some of the rankings and realize that a lot of them were every year there's some inaccuracies. There's always been. But I think we're about to see a run where the inaccuracies are piling up.
Can I give the quick list?
Go ahead.
Here we go, folks. Lot made about recruiting 3-stars. Well, my first, and I've got 5 groups of 5 players. My first 5-some: Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Morris Claiborne, the Honey Badger, and Benny Logan. Pretty darn good. Alfred Blue.
I remember Benny Logan. Everybody knows the Tyrann Matthew story, but Benny Logan, that was one that DJ McCarthy had to fight tooth and nail to get Les to go after.
But who was your big guy that was part of the site that passed away?
Diggs.
He was pushing Benny Logan hard, remember?
Well, we had a guy in that area that would actually bring him.
I know,
was it
but
Red River somebody? I forget it.
Diggs was involved with Benny Logan. But anyway, ended up with a nice NFL career. Alfred Blue, Jeremy Hill, Tyson Jackson, Lewis Neal, Jalen Mills. All of them played in the pros. I don't think Lewis Neal made it, but he was an undersized defensive end. The guys on the team right now, Allie Gay was a 3-star. So was Jack Besh. So was Damone Clark, Jeray Jenkins, and Jay Ward. Pretty good. How about Patrick Queen? Ended up being a first-round pick. 3-star. Neil Farrell, Lloyd Cushenberry, Foster Morrow. Those 2 guys were taken on the last day, the morning of signing day, last player.
And how many of those did you name were first-round draft picks?
And that's right. And DJ Shark. And then the last 5, Russell Gage, Duke Riley, Deion Jones, Cordell Flott. Remember when Cordell Flott committed to LSU? He's a 3-star, and everybody say, hey, he's 6 foot, 155 pounds. He can't cover in this league. I even said it.
Man, how many of 150?
He got drafted in the 3rd round. And the last guy, Jacob Hester, who famously said, Nick Saban told him, yeah, thanks, Jacob. We'd have had the number 1 recruiting class if you wasn't a 2-star.
Look, Jacob's got a lot of mileage out of that. But I was on the ground floor of that.
He was a 3-star, huh?
Yeah, you know why that happened? You remember he was committed to Texas.
Exactly.
Okay. And one of the guys who was a real shitbird,
okay,
big Texas homer, was one of the higher-ups at Rivals at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that had something to do with it. But it also had something to do with the fact that, if you remember, most of the Evangel players ended up not living up to their hype. And so it all got taken out on Jacob Hester. Because at the time, it was like, what is the likelihood that a power fullback is going to be the best guy to come out of Evangel? In that offense that they ran and high-powered, and I mean, think about what they did, that was a part of it. It was more or less a backlash of Evangel, and the fact that one of the higher-ups was a Texas Nimrod.
Well, look, Jacob's always
it was not Ketchum.
He's always going to have a sweet spot in the heart of LSU fans on the 5-for-5 and 4th down, and give Les credit. If there's one thing Les Miles did better than any LSU coach that I've ever seen, is trick plays, gambling, and going for it for 4th down, and 5-for-5 is pretty damn special in one game on 4th down. I don't think I'll ever see that again in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Can I give away a parking pass to the Southern game?
You got one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll hold it for that week.
No, I want a trivia question. We're going to start throwing trivia in there. You don't even know the answer.
All right, go ahead.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, Jaylen Daniels played 3 years at AZ State. First one to, in the chat, identify how many total touchdowns Jaylen Daniels would have accounted for in 3 years gets my parking pass to the Southern game. I'll text you the answer, Mike.
Well, everybody's Googling now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, the first one.
All right.
Got to get it quick.
I'm watching it. 14?
14, not even close.
Not close, Nurse Court. 28. What's the number?
Do we have somebody with the right answer? Hold on, I'm sending it to you. Anyway, I will give you some stats about Jaylen Daniels. And, you know, everybody knows, Mike, the first thing that's going to be coming up in fall camp is what? Who got the first reps, who got the twos, who got the threes, who got the fours with the quarterbacks?
Did you text me something?
No, let me see if I apologize. Let's see where you are. It's amazing, folks, because I'm going to read you some stats over that Jaylen Daniels, and this is what we do in the summertime. Okay, look at your phone. I'll send it over to you. So, hey, look, folks, we like to give you what we used to call spicy tidbits. Did anybody get it?
Do they get to guess twice?
Yeah.
Nurse Court.
What's the number?
45.
45 touchdowns.
Nurse Court's the winner.
For the Arizona State quarterback. And at some point in the show, I will tell you.
Nurse Court gets a parking pass for the Southern game.
How about that? I'll tell you how he got those numbers later on in the chat.
Congrats, Nurse Court.
Good job, Nurse Court. You think she's got?
She's the fastest Googler.
She had to Google that. Wait, did you hear what I just said?
What?
We saw this kid. He arrived in Baton Rouge 3 days and went to spring ball. Now, granted, Pac-12 defenses are appreciably different, slower, and not even close to SEC defenses. 45 freaking touchdowns in 3 years. And, oh, by the way, in year 2, they only played 4 games because of COVID.
There you go. Of course, Dane Bergeron said it was rigged.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it wasn't rigged. Even I can't.
Hey, he's calling me a snake, and his nickname is Snake.
Yeah.
Snake, you are what you are. Sorry.
Congrats, Nurse Court, on that. And you guys know what time it is. It's time for me to talk about Tony Freeman. You thinking of buying a new home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust? Let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs repeatedly. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, 225-239-7150. And please tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity 70876. And trust me, folks, everybody's got mortgage people, but if you don't and you need one, trust me, give her a call. She's as good as it gets, and she's going to take care of you.
Congratulations to Tony, recently getting married, and $1 million smile. Everybody feels comfortable. Another woman who takes command but is not bossy. She knows what she's doing. She's meticulous, dots the I's, crosses the T's, gives you the smile, and knows what's going on.
I talked to her today. She was working on a file and didn't have time to chit chat. She gets the work done. Believe me, she's absolutely the one you want to call. Here you go. Doug Knows says, so what y'all hearing about Zalance? I heard Texas rubbed him wrong. I feel real good about where LSU sits with him. I really do, and I felt that way for weeks. I haven't gone as far as to put a prediction in on him on the site, but I might as well. I'm telling you right now, I've got LSU as the leader for him. And like I said, I don't think that one's going to go real long. I don't know if it's going to be next week or 3 weeks or 6 weeks. But I don't think this one's that. I don't know that one's going to be prolonged. So
You
and
missed the little
he
joke.
is an absolute must.
You loved him and talked about him last week. You missed the joke. I threw it to Mike today. I threw an old song. I heard it through the grapevine, and you love this, Lance Hurd. And by the way, I got to ask you, Mike. Everybody on the board's talking. Is Brad Davis going to start bringing in the 4 and 5 recruits just like Jamar Cain did the last week?
I think he is, and then when that happens, and of course we're including Zalance in that number. I really like the kid at Dutchtown too, by the way. I really was looking at him the other day. That's committed to Purdue. I think he might be one. You know, I talk about defensive linemen and ends and tackles that I don't see or could get an offer for 23 in Louisiana. I really like that kid. I think he's one to keep an eye on. I don't know where he's at on LSU's board, but I think that young man can play. Let's see what else I got. Edward O wants to know, hey, buddy, what's your favorite late night date place?
Late night? Well, listen.
He goes to restaurants. Just like me.
Look, I got to lose about 10 before the start of the season and want to get in better shape. But, you know, it's been raining. Girlfriend's out of town. They went to Georgia on vacay. And we're kind of working and having a little vacay. But we like some Mexican. We like some Italian. We like some seafood. And I will just tell you this. I would weigh 300 plus if I ate the sugar that Mike Scarborough eats regularly. And I said, why do you do that? And he said, because I want to stay sweet. And so people love you. You're a sweetheart.
Yeah, I got to.
You love you some sugar now. Come on. Faraday and Kirby have been saying that as well.
I got to cut back on it too.
Well,
I'm on a key lime pie kick, and nobody does. Well, I tell you, I still think the best key lime pie is Jay Alexander's. I'll say that. Rick Mobley, I missed who you said expect to commit tomorrow. That would be Jeremiah Hughes, the cornerback from Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. He's going to announce tomorrow, and did a really good interview with him on Saturday. He's another great kid, and so got a prediction in on LSU for him, and so that'll be tomorrow afternoon.
Go ahead and say it. What? He's a 3-star, Brian.
I think one of them might have as a 4.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the other thing, Mike. When you're calling somebody a 3-star, does that say you have 2 or 3 3s and then a 4? Is it composite? Is it majority?
On Tiger?
Because I saw Jaylen Brown now was listed by one side as a 4-star, and I've been hearing he's a 5-star. I guess this is where some of the bias comes in.
On the back end of our database, we have entries for 3 networks, and we put in their rankings of each one, and we have a consensus of the 3. So
well, that's legit as long as ESPN.
And then I have the ability to put in my own. And typically what I'll do is if it's a kid out of state that I haven't seen, I'll probably go right in line with what the national average is. But a Louisiana kid, I'm surely going to enter in my my own.
As long as
I hope to have a top. I'm probably going to have a top 15 maybe or 20. I don't know if I'm going to get to 20. It might just be a top 15 in August that I'll revisit. Maybe it'll expand to 20 or so by December. But I want to have my own top list out probably before the season starts. I need to do that. Rick Cloetti asked Mike, what's your current thoughts on the LSU quarterback starter? And will coach use 2 quarterbacks or stick with just one? That's, man, I think 2 quarterbacks are going to play. I guess the big question is there any of the 3 that are going to separate themselves? How vital is what they're doing right now going to tell the tale once they get started next month?
Look, when we make opinions about these quarterbacks, at least I know me and you both think about the same mindset on this. We're trying to be your eyes and your ears. Yes, we interject some of our own personality. But a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I saw a guy, and you can't worry about responses and interaction. Boy, those guys don't want Miles to start. Well, let me give you the scoop.
The Miles
folks.
Brennan people, I've been telling you for months, they're the
Let
most,
me give
they're
you
the most
scoop.
militant.
I'm just going to give you the two quarterbacks because I did a
We're
little
not
bit.
pulling for any one of them.
Exactly. You want it is the question to ask: is this a good thing or is this a problem?
The worry is that it could be a problem. The fact that do you have a bunch of guys that are barely average, or is there one in the group that all of a sudden becomes better than that?
And you've only got 2 weeks to separate the first two because once you get 2 weeks from the first game, folks, you got to start getting
A running
reps
game
with
is
your ones and twos.
a running game is imperative for those guys. Those guys, I think they're going to need a strong running game.
Here we go. We have short memories. Miles Brennan has played in 20 games at LSU and started 3. He's got 1,712 yards passing, 13 TDs, and 6 INTs, 60% completion. He's ran the football 35 times for a negative 1 yard rushing. Now, if you know, let's tell the whole story. Miles Brennan came in and sat behind the greatest LSU quarterback in its history, Joe Burrow, for 2 years. Then he had the slip and didn't play last year. But he's done a hell of a job with his body. And here's the best thing that I think people are overlooking about Miles Brennan. They got him to come back, right? Remember? Miles Brennan is coming back. But guess what? He didn't act like a little beach when they brought Jaylen Daniels in. He handled it like a frickin' man. And that's what makes me excited because maturation. Now, those stats, did you know he'd only started 3 games? Did you know that LSU was 1-2? Of course, that was a tragedy that they didn't get the ball in from the half-yard line to beat Missouri. But my point is that there's not a lot you can sink your teeth into. Jaylen Daniels, who everybody wanted to say, well, he can run, but he can't do this, he can't do this. And I know it's AZ State. I know it's Pac-12. Played in 30 games at AZ State. Their record was 8-5, 2-2, and 8-5. Jaylen Daniels in year 1 passed for 2,943 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 2 INTs, 61% completion, 355 yards rushing, and 3 touchdowns. Second year, they played 4 games because of COVID, 2-2, 701 passing yards, 5 TDs, 1 INT, 58% completion, 223 rush, 4 TDs. Last year, 2,381 passing, 10 TDs, 10 INTs, and that's where some LSU fans have said, hey, man, that's not too good. 10 TDs, 10 INTs, 65% completion, 710 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns. His career, folks, he's passed for 6,025 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 13 INTs. He's rushed for 1,288 with 13 touchdowns, over 7,000 yards, 45 touchdowns. And guess what else is the freaky stat of the night? In 3 years, Mike, he was sacked 64 times at AZ State. So they had a lot of holes. And, of course, when you're getting sacked, you're going to make a lot of plays with your feet. And so in question to what Rick was saying, and we're going to see, but to have that kind of option, whether he comes in, and you know, the toughest thing about playing, too, is when do you put the second guy in, right? But I just think that nobody can sleep on any of those 4. And we were saying it last week. Walker might be saying, it's okay if I redshirt, but you know that first day of camp, he's going to be trying just as hard. But don't sleep on these guys. They all have something different that they bring to the table. We will find out, Mike, is this a positive or a problem?
Huey Lipsy says, love the show, guys. Thank you very much, Huey. And MFCC Memphis says, best high school games first weekend. And so I saw your question. I went ahead and pulled up my list. I got pulled up my my Google Docs. I've been charting out for a while. First weekend, Friday, September 2nd, there's no good Thursday night games. Friday night, these are some of the options. Westgate at New Iberia. That's one I had on there. Do I go there now? Derek Williams. East Feliciana at West Feliciana. East Ascension at Zachary, U High at Woodlawn. That's going to be a biggie. And St. James at East St. John. Those are some of the ones that I kind of some of the football schedules are probably, I think maybe 2/3 of them or more are up on the LHSA website, but those are the ones that I have so far zeroed in on. I choose games first. I choose the games in September. They're going to have the most LSU targets on the field.
By the way, I haven't talked with Mike about this, but I'm getting more and more input, Mike, from people, and we really need to do this. Look, I've got some great food sponsors with Manda and other people, and Tiger Shark and Snake and 03, 07, and everybody else that's involved on a daily basis, SDT and all of the others that you know so well. We got to get together and break some bread and have a little fun because, as we said, if the football team is going to it's crazy. After Brian Kelly, and I don't think this has been leaked yet, Mike.
Speaking of Brian.
Brian who? Madeir? I was just going to say, go ahead. I'll finish the story.
Do you all know how Tiger reliever Lefty Coop finished in Monday's hot dog eating contest?
Oh, Brian Kelly got a verbal commitment from a guy after he started doing the gritty to we are family. And so all I'll say, Mike, is this. You can gripe and complain and all that, but when I talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Justin Jefferson and the Honey Badger and all those other studs, I don't ever see a guy run out on the field with on his helmet, he's got 3 stars. I've never seen that. Have you?
Yeah. Doug knows chances of keeping Jordan Matthews home. Look, they're recruiting him hard. Obviously they're recruiting him and Ricky hard.
I'm here in Stanford.
Late offers, and of course his daddy played for LSU. We're going to see how it plays out.
Very high academics, and listen, when you get an offer to go to Stanford, I think they are definitely in the mix for him.
Who dat dude? I hope Chase Basonis, the offensive lineman from New Jersey, commits to us.
Well, look, we talked about Shanahan, and we didn't mention it, but what is it? Marquis Anderson, the daddy who filmed the visit. What's the latest on him?
Yeah, I need to talk to him. I need to get something further on him. Let's see what we got now. Let me scroll up, guys. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything that we haven't hit already. Rick Cloetti, speaking of offensive tackles, how do we like LSU's chances with Tyree Adams out of St. Aug? He's another one that it's been probably about 3 or 4 weeks or longer that I need to talk to him. Obviously, he's one of their guys, but, where's he at on LSU's board? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, there's been a slew of offensive linemen that Coach Davis brought in for official visits in June, unofficial camp visitors, spring game. Where's Tyree on LSU's board? You've got Zalance, and then what's the number? What is the total number you think? Is there a solid high school number, and then is there a solid transfer portal number? And then what is that total when the dust settles, and we're sitting here at this time next summer? What's the total that they bring in?
A coach who loves little Debbies told me, you take 5 O linemen and 5 D linemen every year, and you never look back. And of course, the other question.
So is it 3 or 4 high school guys and 1 or 2 transfer portals?
It just depends. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about it last week. There are advantages to get guys in the transfer portal. There's also disadvantages. LSU's going to lose 3 corners, folks. Mekhi Garner, if he blows up the way we think he is, Bernard Converse and 7 Banks, you got to replace 3 guys that could start that going to get plenty of action for next year. So, but it's moving in the right direction. I just want to interject one other thing. I'm hearing this about a lot of Derek Williams. I got to ask you about Jaylen Brown. And Mike and I have been going back and forth about this. And I think his mama and him posted something on Twitter that was, it kind of looked like they were pretty damn happy. right?
Their official visit pictures, they look like they really enjoyed it, and everything that we've gotten is they obviously did. And
But how cool is it, okay, that a kid from Miami is seeing Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and on with these NFL receivers? I mean, DBU, is it going to be the next wide receiver U? Because Kayshon Boutte is going to follow it up with a first-round draft choice. By the way, Kayshon Boutte, folks, a little over 1,240 total yards in 2 years, 14 touchdowns, Mike. Of course, he has not played in that many games. I think it's a big year for Kayshon Boutte to build his stock up to a first-round draft choice.
yeah, it's we're going to see how that all plays out. But we're going to have a very good few days. Doug knows. What about Curly Reed? I'm not hearing anything there. I'm not seeing where LSU is a factor there. Nurse Court, did Brock Glenn commit someplace? No, he didn't. I think LSU's recruiting him along with Ricky Collins. Brock Glenn is from the Lausanne School, collegiate school in Memphis, has seen his stock go through the roof in the last 6 to 8 weeks. We're going to see how that plays out for him. He's been to Auburn, Ohio State, Florida State. Ohio State obviously came and looked at Ricky last month or in the spring evaluation period in May. And they want him bad. Auburn wants him bad. And LSU's offered him as well. So we'll see how that plays out.
Everybody talks about you never can
Those
have.
are the two quarterbacks to follow for LSU.
But I was watching the Georgia spring game. I ran into that a couple of weeks ago on the SEC Network. And, Mike, they got a ton of quarterbacks. But seriously, who would have been able to tell you with a straight face 2 years ago that five-star JT Daniels would get kicked out and lose his job to a walk-on who would lead them to the national championship, and then he has to leave and transfer. So I ask you this question. Do you think they want to add another quarterback? Because as we know, if Walker redshirts, you've got a redshirt freshman, you've got Nussmeier who'd be a sophomore. If Daniels comes back, he would have one more year. And of course, Miles is gone, this being his 6th year. And I think Jayden Daniels wants to go one more and go pro, but he's got to have some skins on the wall. So,
well, if Jayden Daniels isn't the starter and he doesn't have a great season, he's not going pro.
No, he's got to come back.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that do you feel like Ricky Collins would have no problem with that depth chart? How many years would he have to sit before he'd get a legitimate chance to start? I think that's a viable question that these kids are asking, aren't you? Don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, they want to play. And I never seen a quarterback say, oh, I want to go sit in the bench. They want to go play.
But he's Purdue's recruiting coordinator now.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying he's going to Purdue. I'm just saying that LSU has a crowded depth chart, and if Walker Howard
it can be great the way it looks right now and be bad in March.
No doubt.
You got to get one.
And they fly out of here. Of course, nobody did it better than that quarterback at Texas who left Texas high school, got $1 million NIL to go to Ohio State, and came back to Texas for $2 million. That's living the dream. Ewers, that kid's name.
Yeah. Let's see how this is what I got right here. 1 second, guys. I'm checking on something for you. Yeah, it's not pulling up. All right, guys. Do me a favor. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. And please go to TigerBait. Try us out. $1. Try us out you get a 7-day free trial period. Choose the annual package on the back end. You're going to be getting our text alerts, our newsletters, all of our recruiting updates. Commitment. As soon as those commitments happen in the next 2 days, you're going to get a text alert immediately. So no matter where you're at, you're going to know, and you can just look at your phone and it's over with. I don't spam you. And so, by the way, a lot of subscribers, you need to go to our message board, and it walks you through how to sign up for the free text alerts. You're going to get our newsletters and much more with TigerBait Premium. Go subscribe to TigerBait as soon as the show's over with, and we want to have you. And, of course, big thanks to Pride Roofing, Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial, and big thanks to Buddy Songy for sitting in with me again this week. He says he's going to be off next week, so we'll see. I might go solo or I might have a special guest in here.
Yeah, always happening over here. And as always, folks, if the good Lord lets you wake up tomorrow morning, the rest of the day is left up to you. You know, one thing about this LSU fan base, Mike, you just cannot replicate it. You can't duplicate it. Remember, this gives LSU fans pride, but it's kind of an often forgotten fact. But remember when everybody in the country wanted to know how LSU was doing the frickin' Bayou recruiting bash. Danny was talking about, Danny Girl was talking about why are they so passionate. You remember Ohio State and all these other people trying to come over, and how do you do all that? Unfortunately, that event has now been made obsolete because of social media and Twitter. But that is the great part of being a fan, because
By 9:30 at those things at the Bella Baton Rouge, the atrium, I would be about 6 Krispy Kreme donuts in, 2 or 3 Diet Cokes. I was off to the races on signing day.
But anyway, appreciate all the following. And, yeah, I got to have a little vacation. When we come back in 2 weeks, Mike, SEC Media Days, 12 days away. Brian Kelly there the first day. Jay Johnson continuing to knock it out the park with recruiting. Kim Mulkey, unbelievable class coming in. Matt McMahon, we don't talk enough about him. Good time to be a Tiger fan.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. And again, please hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. Very much appreciative. See you on the other side. Good night.